Today we're gonna make a pan-seared salmon with a creamy lemon dill sauce using just these ingredients, so let's get started. Now some of you might be thinking this is a hard recipe or maybe a little bit fancy, but it's really not. It's so easy. And if you've cooked chicken or pork chops in a skillet before, you so can do this. So to get this recipe started, we need to dredge our salmon. And what that means is we're just gonna lightly flour it on both sides. We're gonna start by patting the fish dry with a paper towel, because when we put it in the pan to sear it, we want the fish to sear and not steam from the moisture that's inside. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna lightly salt and pepper both sides of the fish, and then we're gonna nestle it right into this flour on one side and then the other, and we'll set it aside, and we're gonna do that with each piece of fish. So now we're ready to brown our salmon in the pan. And we've had 2 tablespoons of olive oil heating up, and we're ready to go. Now, as it cooks, you can see the color start to change from red to an opaque pink, starting from the bottom of the fish closest to the pan up to the center. And when it gets close to the center, then that's when you know it's time to flip the fish over. Now it's almost time to flip this fish, and you can see where it started to change colors. So we know when our salmon is done, when it's firm to the touch, or a thermometer shows an internal temperature of 140 to 145. So I've taken the salmon out of the pan and put it on a plate to set aside, and we've wiped out our skillet in the sink, and we've got it back on the stove, and we're ready to go for the sauce. So we're starting this sauce with 2 tablespoons of butter that we're gonna melt in our pan, and we're gonna add 3 cloves of garlic. So we let that garlic brown a little bit in the butter, and we're gonna add a tablespoon of flour, and we're gonna whisk it together just until it makes a paste. So now that we've made this sauce base, and this is what's gonna make our sauce nice and thick, we're gonna add about a cup of chicken broth. And we're just gonna add half of the broth at first, because we wanna make sure that that paste stays nice and smooth. And we're gonna let that broth and the flour simmer for just about a minute to thicken up. I'm gonna turn down my heat. I'm gonna add lemon juice and then some Dijon mustard. This is gonna add a really nice flavor for the salmon. And now we're gonna add in that cream just a little at a time. Now this is heavy whipping cream, and some of you will wanna substitute with half and half or with milk, but because we're using so much lemon juice, the heavy cream really works best to make sure you don't get any curdle in your sauce. Now that we've got all our cream in there, we're gonna add our secret ingredient, about 1/4 cup of shaved Parmesan cheese. And we'll just whisk until it's melted. Now that our cheese is fully incorporated, we're gonna add about a tablespoon of fresh chopped dill. To finish up, we're gonna put our salmon back in the pan with the sauce. We'll spoon a little sauce over the top. Then we'll add some lemon wedges and some dill. So we've finished our pan-seared salmon with our creamy lemon dill sauce. Just look at that. Now let's talk about some serving suggestions, because I want your recipe to be a success from the kitchen all the way to the table. Now I love to serve this salmon with rice. This is a wild rice, but you could definitely serve it with a white rice or a brown rice, depending on what you like best. And then we're gonna take one of these slices of salmon, and you notice we put an extra bit of lemon and dill on that salmon. It looks good, but it also is gonna add some flavor. And then we're gonna put a little sauce. And then you can finish this dish with some broccoli, maybe asparagus, or nice green beans. And when I set the table, I love to pair this dish with a little bit of blue. It looks so good together. And there you have it. your pan-seared salmon with your creamy lemon dill sauce, a little bit of wild rice, and some steamed broccoli. So I can't wait to see this recipe in your kitchen and on your table soon.